Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday of August. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We will be talking about surviving the slow months, mastering collections in an unpredictable market today. Um, are you leaving any money on the table? Let's discuss. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This webinar is designed for seasoned dealers who have experience in collections, but may be looking for other ways to optimize further, especially during these unpredictable or slow market months. Today, we're going to examine what truly impacts your cash flow and your portfolio performance when collections start to slip, and how to prevent that from happening. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the chat. I believe there's a question feature. So go ahead and submit your questions down there. I will address those at the end. So let's get started. Okay, so the slow months aren't just about customers being irresponsible. It's about the priorities are shifting for them, and there's a lot of financial strain that's going on right now. Even some of your most loyal customers are going to deprioritize their payments for things like vacations, school starting back. Also, the holidays are coming up. A lot of times, people are looking at starting to use those resources now to prepare for the holiday season. As a dealer, your revenue takes a hit. Your revenue takes a hit, especially when expenses remain steady or they rise, right? Right now, I know that my kids just went back to school. It's a really difficult time for customers to use those priorities when they should be planning ahead. We know that, but sometimes things happen. And then also the inflation in the economy right now is causing those household budgets to kind of decrease. And then dealers experience the dips in income revenue during these tough months. Now, how are we going to prevent that? The cost of poor collections isn't just unpaid balances, it's a ripple effect. You can't buy inventory if you're chasing overdue payments. Your team gets frustrated, and your customers who feel hounded don't come back. These invisible costs drain your business far more than one bad deal could ever do. So just make sure that you are realizing that you do need to work with your customers to a certain point. And understand their stress. If they're loyal customers and this is a once out of a blue moon situation, maybe give them that allowance. But also you can educate. So that's my biggest thing. If you're educating your customers on things like interest rates, if you're on daily interest, they're accruing that interest daily. It's all about the education aspect as well. If you're not involving, you're falling behind. So dealers who assume their process is good enough usually discover too late that it's not that great, and that their recoveries are slipping. It's easy to overlook inefficiencies when things seem to be working, but consistent cash flow requires consistent process and consistent scrutiny. So stick with your process, develop your process from day one. Your customers are already in that mindset. If you get stuck in the I've always done it this way mindset, you're limiting your growth. If you're not trying to be better, then you're limiting your growth. Overconfidence is outdated. Systems or staff performance, okay? Be confident in your process. Be confident in your collections. Know what you are doing. You are dealing with facts in front of you of the customer's account. You want to make sure that you're doing the most due diligence for them and yourself. as a dealer. You wouldn't approve a loan without assessing the credit risk, right? So why not apply that same logic to collections? Risk scoring. It allows your team to prioritize outreach, not waste time equally on every past due account. Not every late customer is a problem, but the ones who are can't wait for a 15-day phone call. Again, it is not a one size fits all. You have a process that you follow. You need to make sure that your customers are getting the most out of your collections effort. If you have a customer that you know only responds to text message, then you should probably send them a text message. If you have customers that you know are typically at that 5-day past due mark, you're going to note their account each time that they make a payment. And then you're going to start building those conversations. Now, Mr. Customer, I realize that you just made your payment. Typically, we are at 5 days past due. Would you like me to set a payment arrangement for 5 days past due on your next payment? Or better yet, say, why are we not able to pay on this date? Is there a pay issue? Are you getting paid different? Are we able to see 3 pay stubs so that we can change that for you so that you're not delinquent and earning that extra interest on your account if they have an account like that? So you need to evaluate each account for what it is. And you need to have these internal scoring procedures. What are their late and partial payments looking like? How many times have they broken a payment arrangement? How many times have we not been able to get a hold of them, or they go days without not contacting us? You need to do those risk scoring procedures internally. Most dealers still default to calls and hope they get lucky, but modern consumers live on their phones. A text message paired with a payment link procedure or process significantly betters results. Combined with the call tracking and email open rates, and you have a clear roadmap for how you reach customers to the best of your ability. So again, you should be using phone calls, text message, email. Typically, you want to make sure that you're making contact or attempting to make contact with customers every other day. And then this kind of outlines, I thought that this was interesting, so I put this in here. 98% open rate of text messages, right? Because we're all on our phones. We all have them beside us. We are all ready to receive those messages. And sometimes, I'll be honest, a text message is kind of quicker, easier than getting on the phone and making that. Okay, so that option is available. Emails are the best for documenting. Even when I have a meeting to this day, even after that meeting, I do a recap email so that we make sure that we're all on the same page. Calls are essentially for negotiation and escalations, right? Because you're calling them, they know that their account is due. So you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence on that call of sending a payment arrangement. They're most likely, especially if they pick up when you're calling, they're either going to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot my payment. Let me go ahead and process that now. But 90% of the time, you're going to get, oh, I can't pay it right now. This came up, or I'll pay it after work. Okay, so we need to document and we need to make sure that we're setting up those payment arrangements and that those are being held. And then response matters. Who's opening, who's clicking, who's ignoring. Again, that goes into your risk scoring. You can say the right thing on the phone call with the customer, but if you say it at the wrong time, it's going to get ignored. Data shows that contacting customers right before or after they get paid significantly improves success rates. Likewise, calling at times when they're not working increases your chance of connection. The best response windows you're going to have are 9 to 11 a.m. and 4 to 7 p.m. Why? Because people are usually just getting to work. They're on their way to work, or they're on their way home from work. They're stuck in the car. They're stuck in traffic. Fridays and Mondays are the highest delinquency resolution days. Why? Because most people get paid on a Friday or a Monday. And then automated reminders around the paydays. So weekly, bi-weekly, if you're sending them a text message, if you have an automated feature in your DMS that is sending them a text message on the day that they're due, your collectors don't have to make a call to them because they're not technically past due, but you're sending them a text message to remind them that they have a payment due. That's why you want to also make sure when you're setting up your contracts and you're getting your customers started that you are utilizing their paydays. You want to make sure that you're collecting their pay stubs so that you can reflect their schedule of their car payment so you can ensure that you know that that's their payday and that they are able to make the payment. Now, if something comes up, that's one thing. But if a customer is repeatedly not able to make their payments on their due dates because their due dates are their pay dates, then that is a further discussion that you need to have with your customer. You're not just collecting, you're negotiating behavior. Again, if you allow a payment arrangement the first time, that customer is going to want a payment arrangement the second time, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. You're training your customers on how they need to act as a customer. And most of the time, you're wanting to increase that benefit for them. Not only are you, if they pay on their due date, they're not paying extra interest if they're on a daily interest. They're able to keep their pay structure and they're able to lower their delinquencies and then able to improve their credit score. That is huge for most of the dealers, for most of the customers. Fear alone doesn't work for anyone. People respond to urgency, opportunity, and understanding. Your language should do 3 things: reinforce the consequence, offer a path forward, and make the customer feel seen, not shamed. Everybody goes through things, and you do not know what somebody is going through on the other side of the phone. Sometimes you can have the most loyal customers go through the worst things, and then they feel embarrassed because they've been so on time that they don't call you and they don't tell you what's going on. And then when they finally do speak to you, it's typically when the account is already past due and we're looking at further steps. And then that customer explains to you what's going on, and you're like, dang, I wish you would have told me sooner. We could have done X, Y, and Z for you. It's all about communication, and you want to remind your customers that you're here to communicate with them. You can use phrases like, let's get this behind you today. We can help you protect your vehicle. Avoid further late fees by acting now. You're building that with them. You want them to know, you want your customers to know that you are on their side. At the end of the day, you are on their side. Think of delinquency stages like a funnel. At the top, most customers just need a little nudge. As time goes on, your leverage decreases and efforts per dollar recovered goes up. Past 90 days, it's often more cost-effective to outsource. The key is knowing when to shift gears and not waiting too long. So again, take a look at your portfolio and see where your delinquency is at. Where are your customers typically sitting? I hope that the majority of your portfolios, to all your dealers watching, are not even at the first stage that I have on my screen. I hope that your delinquency rate is under 15 days because that is ideal. And you're not at that point where you're starting to make those decisions. So you want to take a look at your portfolio. If you do need somebody to take a look at your portfolio, us here at Alamo Financial will take a look at your portfolio for free of no charge to you and kind of see where some improvements can be. If you're wondering about a collections process, reach out to me. I will go ahead and share with you our collections process here at Alamo Financial and give you some tips and tricks on how to improve that if you feel that that is where your struggle lies. Are you making calls? Are you sending text messages? Are you doing emails? Outsourcing doesn't mean failure, it means focus. But if your team is great at sales or service, but weak at persistence or follow up, outsourcing collections can protect your relationships, your cash flow, and your time. It's about using specialists for specialized work, just like you wouldn't have a detailer manage your books. So think about that. Would you have somebody in your service department doing your books? No, probably not. So you want to make sure that you have skilled people doing your collections for you. Staff spends 25 to 35% of their time on collections. Delinquency rate is that 12% for over 45 days. No formal escalation path for older accounts. Need to recover and preserve customer relationships. Again, when it comes to outsourcing, we're wanting to be your collections department, work in partnership with you to service your customers, because not only do we want your customers to come back to you, but I know you want that too. You want that recurring business from your customers. And the way to do that is give them skilled people that know what they're doing. You are great at your sales job. Let us be great at the collections job. Or your collection staff. Okay, so this is a case study for a 90-day turnaround. This isn't theory, it's practice. One of our clients in Texas shifted just their worst 25% of their accounts to us. They kept control, got full transparency, and saw immediate results. It wasn't about doing less, it was about doing it smarter. So again, all of our collectors here at Alamo Financial are FDCPA certified. They take pride in their collections. But with this case study, dealer had rising 60 plus delinquency with an in-house team. They switched to there's high risk accounts to our concierge collector program. And then within 3 months, they recovered 32 more percent, or we recovered 32 more percent. And then their team was allocated to sales. They could do what they did best, selling cars. And then it resulted in fewer repos and higher customer retention. They were able to sell more vehicles, get their portfolio back up to a very healthy mark after switching to us, because we were able to collect more. And when you're able to collect more, you're able to put more collateral on the streets to get more customers. It's a revolving cycle. And sometimes dealers don't think about it that way, but it is a healthy revolving cycle. You want to make sure that you're collecting so that you can put collateral on the street. All right, I'm going to open it up to see if there's any questions. And then let me know in the chat if what's been working for you in the past, what's no longer working for your dealership. We'd love to hear some of your thoughts and challenges. If you don't have time to put it down in the chat, go ahead and send me an email. Let me know what you thought of this webinar. Let me know what you thought of this topic. And if there's anyone that wants to talk offline after this, go ahead and send me an email. I would love to chat with you about your dealership or about your collections process in general. I am starting this thing where I am using the hashtag Queen of Collections. If anything, I want to be a resource for you guys to bounce some collections ideas off of me. Our process here at Alamo Financial. I know that I have mentioned it before, but I did do the collections here at Alamo Financial as well. So I have a really strong passion for collections. And so I want to share my knowledge and any resources that I can with all of you dealers. So I appreciate everyone joining us today. If you are checking out this webinar on YouTube after, hello, and thank you for checking us out. We look forward to having the next webinar next month, and I hope that everybody has a great rest of your month and a prosperous one at that. Bye, guys.